Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Higher or Lower, the show brought to you by Spreadex, Sporting Index and oddschecker as we look ahead to the weekend's football and say if we think the eventual results of the spread betting markets will be higher or lower than the midpoint. I'm your host George Ellick and refreshed and reinvigorated. Jack Wright, after international break, how are you?
I'm very well. I'm refreshed and reinvigorated.
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 Yeah. Because you were invigorated before and then you weren't.
Right.
And now you are again. Dan, exhausted as ever, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Glad to have some real football back.
It's my Thursday morning tradition is for you to tell me you're tired.
No, I'm good, man. I had a good night's sleep last night.
Yeah, but you were tired 2 days ago, you said.
Yeah, John took it out of me a bit at the weekend, but look.
Hang on, did you say real footballers back?
Yeah.
Kenny McLean scoring from inside his own half is not real football.
Wales being 7 past North Macedonia to confirm their playoff space.
Yeah,
England
position. Yeah, England did good.
Back-to-back games.
Yeah, I mean that's just a given now, though, isn't it?
Yes, without conceding. Anyway, we're not going to talk about international football here. We're going to talk about the Premier League and on Friday night the Championship with Preston hosting Blackburn. No love lost between these two sides. And we're looking at the total goals market with Spreadex. 2.35 is the midpoint, 2.25 to sell, 2.45 to buy. So lower is 2 or fewer goals, higher 3 or more. 3, 2, 1. Got this wrong, mate.
Yeah.
What's up?
Well, Blackburn have been quite tight on the road this season. Only Stoke have conceded fewer in the Championship. And they've not really scored that many goals either, Blackburn, whilst on their travels. And only a handful of teams have conceded fewer goals at home than Preston. Given that, as you said, there's no love loss, I've kind of got this down as quite a tight one. Obviously, a midpoint of 2.35 is pretty low.
Yep.
And people who are regular to this show will know that I don't often go lower when you only need 3 goals. But yeah, I just fancy this to be a tight one. So I have gone lower this time.
Okay, Jack?
Yeah, I think it is a low line. I know, on this show, if it's 2.1 or 2.9, there's not much difference in going higher or lower. But I think as far as the actual line is concerned, it's certainly one I'd want to take as a higher. I think the international break probably came at the right time for Preston as far as their injuries are concerned. Hopefully they'll have 2 or 3 players back. Obviously they've got to cope with Asmaic now being out for some time due to suspension, but they have got goals from other areas of the team, and so they've got the strong home record, joint highest record at home as well. So 2-1 victory over Swansea. I think that 3-2 victory against Sheffield United was a bit of a statement one as far as they went 2 down early, but showed the resilience and the ability to come back and get the win. And you look at Blackburn, they'll come here with confidence as well. Only Coventry and Stoke got more points on the road than them and winning the last 2. And not easiest games going to, Bristol City and Leicester, winning both there as well. So I think when 2 sides go into the game with confidence high and the ability to score goals, then I think that does then lend itself to being more of an entertaining clash and with goals in it. The last 3 meetings between the 2 sides been draws. Could see another 2-2 like we saw last year. I think 2024 was that. And the last 9 meetings between the 2 sides have got an average of 3.56. 7 of the 9 have gone higher. And not one massively for historicals, but I think when there's 2 sides that are local rivals and there's a kind of common theme with it, then I'm a little bit more inclined to go on the historical setup of the game.
Okay, yeah, I think overs here. I'm kind of put off a bit by the fact that it is a derby and often these can be quite cagey and scrappy affairs. Also a bit put off by the fact that Blackburn games don't tend to be that end-to-end, but I think with Preston basically always happy to go over goals. I think the market's kind of got them wrong consistently. Under Heckingbottom, they're a young side, they're an attacking side. They are a completely different iteration for the Prestons we've seen in the past. We've already seen loads of games at Preston at Deepdale go high for goals. There were 5 goals in the game against Wrexham, as you mentioned. There were 4 goals in the game against Borough. There were 5 goals in the game against Sheffield United. BTTS has copped in pretty much all of their home games, apart from the 0-0 draw against Bristol City. So kind of end-to-end, young team playing with kind of reckless abandon, I would say, from an attacking perspective. So even though this is a game between 2 teams that don't like each other too much, I think Preston will approach it on the front foot and continue that way as the game goes on. So with a low line, I'm happy to attack it. Right, Burnley hosting Chelsea is our next one we're going to be looking at here. It is total goal minutes as the market, so the total cumulative minutes in which goals are scored during the game. 141 is the sell price, 151 is the buy price, 146 is the midpoint. 3, 2, 1. Why so few goals?
I feel that Chelsea will have to do a lot of the heavy lifting here as far as the goals are concerned. I think Burnley at home have been pretty turgid this season. Their away games have certainly been a bit more exciting, a bit more entertaining. They seem to feel like they'll have a free swing at it. You look at their home record, they've just been very poor. 5 games, only 29 shots, only 10 on target. Expected goals are 2.84, which is pitiful. They have scored 5 goals, but all of those are the lowest in those respective fields in the Premier League this season. Look at the games against two of the kind of elite sides, a 1-0 defeat at home to Liverpool, 2-0 defeat at home to Arsenal. I think you'll get similar with Chelsea here, how they'll set up. I think Chelsea have got quite a few injury issues as well, but I think the main thing for me is that they've got a massive game on Tuesday at home to Barcelona in the Champions League. They'll see a game against Burnley as a game they should win. I think they'll set out to try and get ahead early and then manage the game. So I think there might well be a couple of early goals in this one and then it will be killed off. That's how I see the game panning out. So therefore I'm happy to take the lower of 146.
Dan?
Yeah, you said Chelsea will have to do the heavy lifting. I'm not put off by that at all. I think Chelsea could run riot here, much like they have in all of the last 6 games at Burnley, which goes back to 2018, which I'm sure you'll both agree is very relevant. 4-1 last time, 4-0, 3-0, 4-2, 4-0. They love to score 3 or more. And if they do that here, you have to think that George and I win this.
Just dragged you into it.
There you go. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, we're a team.
We're in together this time. But no, so actual real stats is only West Ham have conceded more XG at home than Burnley this season. They're massively outperforming their XG against, having only conceded 4 goals from 11 XG, which is, as we both know, very, very unsustainable. And Chelsea like to create lots of XG, second most away from home. So.
They like to create lots of XG.
That's
a great turn of phrase. Yeah, of course they do. All teams like creating lots of XG.
Yeah, but not all teams can.
No, correct.
And probably Burnley are one of those teams that can't. So, yeah, I'm happy to let Chelsea do all the hard work here, but I still think we go above.
Yeah, Chelsea seem to me to be a proper Jekyll and Hyde team. At home, they basically don't let the opposition come very near their goal. They don't let them create lots of XG, even if they want to.
Exactly.
Whereas away from home, their games are pretty end-to-end. We've already seen a 5-1 away at West Ham, a 2-2 away at Brentford, a 2-1 away at United that they lost. Even in cup competitions, there was a 3-1 at Bayern Munich, the 2-1 against Lincoln. Yes, they kept a couple of clean sheets against Forest and Tottenham in 2 of their last couple of away games, but we also had the 4-3 away at Wolves. Their games away from home just seem to be very, very different to the home games. Burnley, I definitely take Jack's point that they're not the best going forward, but I think given the way the Chelsea games go, they will have opportunities within the game. They, of course, scored against Man City in that 5-1 defeat earlier in the season. So, yeah, I think Burnley can probably get on the score sheet in a defeat, and them playing their part the way that Chelsea games tend to go. I do think that there could be goals in this one. Newcastle hosting Manchester City now. First match goal is the market here, 32 to sell, 35 to buy, so 33.5 is the midpoint with SpreadX. That means if you're selling, you think there will be a goal in the first 33 minutes. Buying, you think there will be no goal, 0-0 after that amount of time.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Yeah, Dan, this feels like there's got to be a goal early in there.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, City had 3 goals in this time.
Yeah.
Last time they played Newcastle. So if that happens again, I mean, we can only win once, but we'll take the win. City have scored the most goals in the first half in the league this season, and I am really backing them to do that here. But that's not to say that Newcastle couldn't go up the other end and do it themselves. City have also conceded 5 goals in the first half of games in the Premier League this season, which is higher than most top half sides. So yeah, it feels like goal in the first half an hour with this potent City side is, definitely doable.
Jack?
Yeah, certainly leans to it as far as this season's concerned. Been a first half goal in 4 of Newcastle's 5 home games and in all 5 of Manchester City's away games. Newcastle scored in 3 of those 5. City has scored in 4 of those 5. And generally speaking, there have been pretty early goals as well. The head-to-head record, though, is the one that really caught my eye. And when you consider that the 2 managers are fairly well established, much of the core of the side is fairly similar. There's been a first half goal in the last 12 at St James's Park between the 2 sides, and in 10 of those 12 this line has hit lower. So I think the Newcastle style lends itself perfectly. They put pressure on themselves to perform well at home given their away record. They're like front foot, look to attack City. City this season have been prepared to play in transition and have shown how efficient they are at that, with Doku being superb, certainly last weekend, and on international duty. And there's that guy Haaland up front who, if a chance comes along, he might well take it.
Indeed, just seems City at the moment to me a very, very slick attacking side who still aren't, at their best under Pep Guardiola. They've really kept teams quiet from a defensive standpoint. It doesn't really seem to be the way they're playing right now. Their means to winning games are basically outscoring the opposition rather than keeping it tight, as has been in the past. And with the informed attacking players you mentioned, and with Newcastle at home, always going to be a team that looks to take the game. There's no way they're going to sit off City and let them dictate. They'll be looking to hurt them. So, interesting to see what happens with the injured couple from Newcastle that missed the international break in Pope and Gordon as well. Right, Leeds hosting Aston Villa. Next up, total goals is the market we're looking at here again. 2.5 is the midpoint for Sporting Index. 2.4 to sell. 2.6 to buy. Leeds Villa. Daniel Farke coming under some pressure, possibly, if this doesn't go to plan.
Maybe.
3, 2, 1. Jack?
Yeah, I just feel that this is a huge game for Leeds. You've already said there, Daniel Farke under pressure. You look at the games coming up, obviously this one, then City away, Chelsea at home, Liverpool at home, Brentford away, and then Crystal Palace at home, all the games before Christmas. I think they'll have to earmark this as probably one of the most winnable ones. Villa's process and underlying data is in towards the bottom 3 in the table, but their record, as far as actual winning points is concerned, is high. Done very, very well. Won 5 of the last 6. Won 8 of the last 10 across all competitions as well. So they'll come with confidence. You look at the home games for Leeds, they have now started to score goals and also concede at home. That home crowd, I think, is vital for them. But you look at the games, Bournemouth, Spurs, West Ham, all went higher than this line. And I just think that Villa at the moment have got a great firepower and strength in depth in that area. Those 4 goals against Bournemouth, Buendia, obviously as a former Norwich player, seeing how he's now come back and showing what he can do for Villa is excellent. Rodgers, we know about how superb he is. Ollie Watkins waiting for him to click and score goals so far this season.
It's end of September.
Yeah, it's got to happen. It's unsustainable, that run, isn't it?
After missing the international break as well.
Yes.
Not being picked in the England squad.
No, indeed. So lots to have incentive for there as well. But so the strength and depth of the bench. Milan scored against Bournemouth off the bench. You've got Barkley scored as well. You've got Jadon Sancho, who's got the ability to change games as well. And Yuri Tillman's back, I think, is huge for them. So, lots to like in forward areas. White-hot atmosphere as always at Ellen Road on Sunday. And I just think this could be a bit of an entertaining, exciting clash full of goals.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also there's an element here where this game for Leeds is so important. George absolutely isn't good enough, because after this, Leeds travel to City next Saturday. They then host Chelsea in midweek. They then host Liverpool after that. So it's probably like, if Daniel Farke can't manage to win this game, it's pretty likely that his job is going to come under severe pressure by mid-December. And therefore, I don't think there's going to be any element here of Leeds kind of looking to nick a point and be happy with that given the opposition.
I think there's an element that Daniel Farke's still in a job because they didn't want to hand that set of fixtures to a new manager and say, well, if you get something from it, it's a bonus. If you don't, then...
Yeah, I mean, Villa, really impressed how they turned their form around after that difficult start. Scoring plenty of goals now. It seems like a pretty low line, I would say, especially given that Leeds at home are not a team that you can have too many pops with their attacking output for sure. Right, we've got the North London derby coming up on Sunday. Arsenal are favourites, of course, over Tottenham. The supremacy is 1.3 to sell, 1.5 to buy, 1.4 is the midpoint. So if you're going to go higher here, it's got to be Arsenal -1.
Yes.
Any other result? I think that might be a clue what you're going to do. Any other result would be Tottenham or draw or Arsenal by 1. 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
Wow, George. That's wild.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, tell us. That's crazy.
I think Spurs are a really... Because I know you're going to clip this up and put it on social media, so I can see your face.
No, go all the way in.
I think Spurs are a poor side at the moment. And I think that started to be reflected in the results. Last time they had a London derby was against Chelsea. They only lost that game 1-0, but in reality that was a game where they could have been beaten out of sight. And I would, even though that game only finished 1-0, I would massively use that especially with Spurs at home, is a reason why Arsenal will be able to put them to the sword and beat them by plenty more than the one goal, because there was a massive gap between the two teams that day. Arsenal are a better side than Chelsea, and Arsenal are at home here. I'd be very surprised if Tottenham caused Arsenal too many problems. I wouldn't have Tottenham in for much more than kind of 0.2, 0.3 of a goal. And if that's the case, then Arsenal only have to score 2.5. Where does their goal line sit in order to get past this? They'll have plenty of pressure, plenty of set piece opportunities to hurt them. I'm confident that Arsenal are going to compound the misery and probably ramp up the pressure on Thomas Frank, because I think that's the next thing that's coming at Spurs. Jack?
Yeah, I think Arsenal deserved favourites without a doubt. They certainly deserve to be top. I think all the underlying data supports that as well, not just the points they've got on the board. And I think the opposite applies to Tottenham. They're in a false position as such, as far as fifth in the table. Yet the underlying data would suggest that they're more like relegation strugglers, to be fair. And the pressure is on Thomas Frank, despite the results that he's getting, and especially away from home. But I think if there's one game that he can go to and not perform particularly well, but get a positive result of some description, and of course that would even be for this bet, the fact that they lose by a single goal, then this is the one. So they have performed, they found a way on the road. I think after the international break, with a few key injuries as well for Arsenal, yes, I think they will win it. But I do think they'll only win by a single goal. I don't think they'll run wild. They have been quite tight, these games, over recent times. They're unbeaten in 6, Arsenal, in this fixture. And they've won 5 of those, but they've only covered this supremacy in 2 of the last 14 meetings. And in 1 of the last 7, none of which in the last 2 seasons. And I think when you consider what state Tottenham are in those periods of time as well, I'm happy to support them in some respect in this one.
Yeah, much the same. I just can't see Arsenal putting like 3-4 past Tottenham and completely brushing them aside. I think this is going to be quite tight. Everyone knows that Arsenal are very tight defensively. I think they've only conceded 1 goal at home so far this season, which is crazy this far into the season. But if they're going to be without Gabriel, which I'm not certain on, but he obviously took a knock in Brazil. Calafiori injured too. Gyökeres is not fully fit. Going forward, I think there are a lot of signs here that are suggesting that it will be probably tighter than you suggest anyway.
Nope.
Plus, Tottenham have played their best football so far this season away from home, as Jack mentioned, and they've scored in all of their last 6 at the Emirates. If Tottenham get on the score sheet here, I think you've got to be on our side.
I would go as far as saying it's my most confident one. But you say they play their best football away from home. They've also played some bad football away from home. There was the 2 draw against Bodo, where they were like second best throughout. There was the loss at Newcastle in the Cup. I don't know. Let's see. Right. Okay. Let's get to the final game over the weekend before we get into our best bets. Manchester United hosting Everton. It's the supremacy again. Everton are the outsiders. United are the favourites. 0.8 is the midpoint with Sporting Index. 0.7 to sell, 0.9 to buy. So higher here is United win. Lower is Everton or draw. 3, 2, 1.
Oh,
all in.
All in. Yeah, I think United are showing now that they are quite a good team, basically. The underlying numbers early in the season suggested it. The results weren't great, but now they are continually improving. We're seeing certainly Mbomo showing what an important player he's going to be for them going forward. We're seeing various other players that maybe have been out of form recently performing really well. Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, without any England distractions, performing particularly well at centre-back and left-sided centre-back. Everton, obviously have had a decent start under Moisey this season. They look a decent side and have performed well, but away from home, a United team who look, by all metrics, to be a top 6 team. I'm happy to side with United to be the likely winners of this one. Dan?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think the general sort of sentiment around Manchester United at the moment is a lot more positive than it has been probably in the last couple of seasons, which definitely helps. And particularly this being a home game, will probably have some sway on this fixture. As you mentioned, Everton not been great on the road this season. They've conceded in every away game and more than once, more often than not. They've also failed to score in their last 3 trips to Old Trafford. So, yeah, I just think Man United are going in the right direction. I don't want to get too carried away with it, but the underlying data supports that. By far the most shots per game of any team in the league at home this season. And yeah, I don't know, maybe the Amorim effect is starting to take place. But I just think Man United win here, simply put.
Yeah, they're back, aren't they? United are back. But I think what has helped them as well, to just say something a little bit different from what you guys have said, is that the expectation for Man United this season was a lot lower than it probably has been for as long as I can remember, probably. And so they've kind of had the chance to just slightly overachieve on that. And they have been really, really good at home. Their away form was a bit hit and miss, but at home been super strong. Should have beaten Arsenal in that first opening game. Battered them as far as the XG was concerned in that one. Unfortunate to lose, but then have gone and won their subsequent 4 home games and well. And Everton, not great on the road. They've only won the XG battle once, and that was the only game that they won. That was the one against Wolves, and we know how poor Wolves' performance so far this season. Losses to Leeds, Liverpool and City, and Everton have got a terrible record at Old Trafford. So 2013, the last time they won at Old Trafford, that's a run of 12 games. Man United won 8 of those games as well. And I just think in a game where there should be chances at both ends, United have got the better players to be taking those chances in Bomo and Cunha, Fernandes, Diallo, as opposed to what Everton have got in their striking position. So yeah, a win for Manchester United for me.
Lovely stuff. Right, nap time. It is that time of the show. Dan, the former nap king, haven't won a nap for
Pushed
sorry,
last
mate.
time out,
Okay.
win the time before.
Right, here we go. So what's next in that sequence?
I'm going for a sell of Fulham supremacy against Sunderland this weekend at 0.4. I mean, it's pretty simple. I fancy Sunderland here. And it's quite nice to get the draw on side also. I've been very impressed with Sunderland this season, as everyone has been. I don't think I'm alone there. And pretty underwhelmed by Fulham. They've won just 3 games so far, albeit all of them at home, which is maybe a slight worry for this result. But Sunderland have lost just once in their last 7. Plus, I think Marco Silva's going to come under a lot of pressure, particularly if they don't get...
Just been off a new contract.
Well, there you go. He's going to come under a lot of pressure to make sure he does well.
So
in
was
that new
Vitor
contract.
Pereira at Wolves just before he got the boot.
True.
Yeah, true. Anyway, I've lost my train of thought, but this is a great bet. Sunderland are class and Fulham are not.
What way to cap it off.
Jack,
League 2 for me, it's Bromley versus Salford.
total goal minutes.
Bromley total goal minutes. Yeah, total goal minutes for them. It's a high line actually, but I'm prepared to take it on. 77 is the midpoint. I am going higher. Bromley 5th in the table, have a very good season. Only Notts County have scored more than their 17 home goals. They've scored 2 goals or more in all home games so far this season. And the goal minutes are averaging at 109. There's only been 1 game which has gone under that. 7 of 8 have gone higher. And that was when they scored 2 very early goals against Gillingham, which totaled 19 minutes. And I'd been disappointed for that to be a loss. But all the others have gone over, and most of them have seen at least 100. But so the average is 109 for their total goal minutes. And the reason I went for it as well in the end is Salford's recent away form has been really poor. They got a win at Gillingham, 2-1 win at Gillingham, but defeats to MK Dons, where they conceded a total goal minutes of 135. And Chesterfield was 145, and the real alarming one was they lost away at Bristol Rovers with 108 total goal minutes conceded, and only 1 clean sheet on the road this season. Expect that Bromley goal scoring run to continue, so I'm taking them higher total goal minutes, midpoint 77.
Lovely stuff. I think there's a massive overs bet in the Championship this weekend, and it is between QPR and Hull. And I'm going goals cubed at 44 as the buy price, 38 the sell price, so 41. The midpoint, if you look at the Championship table this season, Sheffield Wednesday have conceded the most goals of 29, Sheffield United have conceded the second most goals of 26, and then next to Hull on 24 and QPR on 23. So the 3rd and 4th worst defence in the league so far this season. Look at goals for this season. Who sits second? Behind Coventry on 40. Who's
Hull?
at 26? Hull. So, Hull have been ridiculously goalsy this season. Yeah. All their games are mad end-to-end. And Sergei Yakirovich, they've got a manager who sets his team up just to attack relentlessly and don't look particularly good at the back. QPR, by no means, they're another one of these teams like Preston. They're always priced up as if they're really cagey, but under Julian Stefan haven't been at all. And Roman Burrell and Richard Kona, they've got 2 really good strikers. They've got a lot of good attacking players. But again, defensively leaky. I just can't understand why this wouldn't look like it's just going to be a basketball game, end-to-end throughout. And I think there'll be loads of goals in it, or at least loads of chances in it, as there are in most Hull games. So for 44, if we can hit 4 goals, that would be a 20-point profit at the buy price. And then obviously it goes mad after that. So QPR Hull, big overs bet in my mind, and goals cubed is the way that I'm going to attack it. Thank you very much to you guys for taking the time to watch this episode of Higher or Lower. If you haven't got a SpreadX account or a Sporting Index account, click on the link in the show description. There's a new customer offer there. Do read up on the risks of spread betting, and remember that losses can exceed your initial deposit. And head over to SpreadX or Sporting Index for all of your spread betting needs. Oddschecker have you covered on fixed odds markets, best prices, bookie offers, free bets, plenty of tips up there as well. Whoscored.com, as I just showed you when rattling off the Championship goals conceded stats. have you covered for all of your stats research needed to inform your weekend betting. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, George.
I'll see you in the pub in Norwich on Tuesday.
Enjoy the game.
I'll see you before the game.
Okay, see you before the game.
Bye, Dan.
Bye, mate. See you in the pub on Tuesday.
You going to see Reading this weekend?
Maybe.
Of course you're not. Right, cheers, guys. Enjoy the weekend's football, and we'll be back again next week. Please ensure that you are gambling responsibly.